All right. I will.
Good.
Well, Nate, I just want to ask this caller, how did you happen to phone the show?
What's that?
How did you find out about this? How did you happen to phone?
To phone you?
Yes, how did you happen to know this was on tonight? Was it something in Paul's office, or?
No, when I was at Dr. Swingle's office, I got a flyer about your show.
Okay, so
I'll phone and talk to Dr. Swingle.
okay, phone him tomorrow or the next day and tell him that, don't expect to get through right away, because you like to have to leave a message and he'll call you back. But
right.
That sounds like that's what you should do, and sounds like good advice.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
But can I say something to you?
Yeah.
I would beg, borrow, steal. I'd sell my car to get treated by Dr. Swingle instead of playing away around with some machine.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you very well.
I said I would beg, borrow, steal, sell my car, sell my whatever,
yes.
and get treated professionally rather than try and do it myself with a machine.
Yeah,
I've seen the results. I have seen the results personally in my own family and other families of what Paul does for people. Then trying to figure it out yourself with a piece of equipment that you pay anything for doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it could be dangerous trying to do it myself.
So, figure out some way, give up something else, and get in and see Paul's office. Okay?
Okay, well, thank you very much for your advice.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Well, I don't quite worship you, but you've done for members of my family and members of my extended family and people that I've met on the street, and I will make it very clear. I will have people come up to me and they grab me by the shoulder type of thing, and they want to hang on, and they have to tell me they are so glad that they talked to you. And Chan Gunn had the same reaction that I had people, and you met Chan. It's alternate medicine according to what we're doing, according to BC Medical, because BC Medical doesn't pay them. I mean, the BC government will pay $5,000 a year for drugs for some kid on ADD or something or other. Won't pay to be treated properly and cured.
It's not under BC Med. It should be under BC Med, and it should be in the schools.
It should be everywhere.
Yeah. We're starting to set up some stations in some interesting places. So we're trying to get it into school systems for dealing with simple problems like ADD.
Well, it's a miracle worker, so that's what's going on. So let's get back to this. We're dealing with the anxiety, with the colitis, ileitis, Crohn's disease, and you say that this can be helped a great deal.
That's correct.
By speeding up something that was slowed down, or what is it we're doing?
Well, basically, you're treating anxiety that's associated with a deficiency in brain activity. Whenever you're dealing with a situation of poor stress tolerance, predisposition to anxiety, then it can manifest in a lot of different ways. And you have a predisposition for something like irritable bowel or inflammatory bowel disorder, then that's what's going to manifest. And
to be a little vernacular, is this sort of... I got really scared one time, and I had what I will call instant diarrhea. I thought I was going over a cliff, and I didn't, but I'm still here. But we're talking 1,000-foot drop right down there, and when a car slipped on the side of a mountain. Is this the kind of stress? Is this some scared shitless type of thing? Is that what we're talking about?
Well,
but except that it's a chronic.
Trauma can be the key. Can be the situation that turns on the predisposition. And very often when you're looking at folks with these conditions, you see trauma on the brain activity. As you know, we can see if a person's been exposed to traumatic stress.
No, you do this EEG, and depending upon, I keep on comparing it to tuning an engine. And I got my bill today for tuning my 1990 Cadillac. It was $1,600 to replace the fuel injectors and do that kind of stuff. It doesn't usually cost $1,600 to fix a kid's head for ADD, does it?
No. If it's common ADD, the simplest form of that, you're in the neighborhood of about $1,500.
Yeah, so the cost that it takes to tune a car, a modern car, a modern fuel-injected car,
Yes.
is what it costs to fix your kid's head.
Yes, and it's tax deductible.
And it's tax deductible.
Right. Fixing your Cadillac wasn't tax deductible.
Well, it is for me because it's a business car, right? Anyway, I mean, of course, it's tax deductible. It's got signs on it, right? Making a long story short. So I just want to put it into context because the gentleman there said, well, he can't afford it. And I have had people with $100,000 Mercedes tell me that they don't want to go and see you because it's going to cost them a couple of $1,000s and it's not covered by BC Medical, so it mustn't be any good. But they'll go in and spend $8,000 on a real fancy upgrade.
Well, see, the interesting thing is it is covered by extended medical, meaning that, you know, it satisfies the conditions of a bona fide medical treatment. All of the equipment is FDA certified and compliant, so it carries the same kind of designation of any other medical instrument.
As an X-ray machine or something of this nature.
In terms of the medical plan, what they're trying to do is provide basic treatment so that they cover the basic conditions. ADD is not a situation that they're going to go out of their way to.
But a kid with ADD can cost a fortune in medical, if nothing else.
Well, down the road, he will be probably alcoholic, probably go through a half a dozen relationships, not be able to hold a job, and be a very unhappy camper,
So
and be medicated.
A big weight on society.
Now, again, it depends on how severe it is and so forth. And a lot of people are able to compensate for these conditions. So, it's not a, it's not
Does everybody grow out of it?
No. The only thing that you tend to grow out of is the hyperactive component of it. And there are a lot of us that feel that you don't really grow out of that. You learn how to control it.
Okay. So we got an anxiety disorder. We've got chronic bowel disorder. How do we fix that? We measure it. We find it slowed down. How do we speed it up? Do we use a brain stimulator, as he was talking about, or what do we do?
Well, let's take addiction.
Okay.
There are several forms of addiction. Let's take alcoholism. One form of alcoholism is genetic. You have a genetic predisposition. And what that is a severe deficiency of slow frequency in the back of the brain. You simply can't find the switch to turn your brain off. You can't quiet yourself. And alcohol quiets. So
you drink because it gives you the peace.
You self-medicate.
Self-medicate.
Okay. Now the problem is...
And it's legal and you can buy it at the corner,
that's right.
Corner bar.
The problem is that you need more and more to get to the same place. And unfortunately, the more alcohol you use, the more severe the problem becomes, and of course all the side effects associated with with the alcohol, heart problems, liver problems, and so forth and so on. Now that's one form of addiction. The other form is a condition where a person is trying to deal with something like social anxiety. The popular example of that is a kid that goes to college and finds that he's very anxious in a social situation when he goes to a party, and finds that he's able to function more efficiently and with less anxiety if he has a couple of beers before he goes. So what he's doing is he's treating his social anxiety with the alcohol.
He has a couple of beers, he gets along better.
That's right. So those are two different conditions that we're trying to deal with neurotherapy. In one condition, what we do is increase the slow frequency in the back of the brain, and the stimulator that fellow is referring to There are stimulators that we prescribe for home use that will accelerate the treatment process. So we need fewer in-office sessions, basically.
Okay, so if that fellow had the need of that kind of thing, you actually have a stimulator that he could get in a little box and carry it around on his belt and use it himself.
That's correct, yes. Under our supervision. And, you know, we're monitoring the brain to make sure that it's doing what we want it to do.
And what would you do in a case like that? He'd have the stimulator and he'd come in every month or every 2 weeks? Or?
Oh, he would be getting regular neurotherapy treatment, and he would be using the home stimulator at home just to accelerate and sustain the gains that we make in office.
Okay.
You've had experience with the...
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I haven't used it myself, but I do know somebody that used it.
Okay.
Extremely successful.